Hello Cricut users, my name is John, and today I'm going to show you how to make these self-adhering boxes. In particular, I'm going to adapt them to make ornaments for a Christmas tree. So let's just get started. I'm using SureCutsALot to make the cuts here. So I have 3 files that I'm using. The first one looks like this. We are only going to cut at the lowest pressure so that it doesn't actually cut through the paper. I'm using 65-pound cardstock, and with the knife depth at 5 and the pressure at minimum, the blade will not cut all the way through, but will make a nice crease line for our boxes. This will be these folded over edges. And near the end of the video, I'll demonstrate how to put them together, and I'll show you a little surprise as to why we don't use glue to put these together. So let me load the page in. Now we're going to go over this page 3 different times. So I'm going to set the setting to the minimum and cut the first file. So while that's going, I'm going to talk a little bit about these. Like I said, you can use these for small gift boxes. You can also stack them or glue them together to make other shapes. I have one here that I made out of business cards. This is actually where I got the idea, and then I just adapted it to the Cricut. But these are actually all interlocking, so I'll show you how I did that as well. Okay, the first page is almost finished. Now, when the thing completes, it's a good idea to press the load paper button, although I discovered it's not absolutely necessary. Alright, now in SureCutsALot, I'm going to load my second file. And this is a file that I created that has the 6 sides of a dice as diamonds. You'll notice that the number 1 is actually a plus sign. I use the Arial plus sign for this one. And the reason for that is that once my box is complete, I can insert a Christmas light through there. Now, if you're going to be using these in Christmas lights, I would recommend that you try and find LED Christmas lights because they're less of a fire hazard, I think, than the traditional small incandescents. In any case, if you are going to use these in Christmas lights, please don't leave them unattended. Only light them when an adult is there to keep an eye on things. Otherwise, you know, something tragic might happen, and I'm not going to take responsibility. Okay, so this pattern we actually want it to cut out, so let's increase the pressure to maximum, and I'm leaving the blade depth at 5. Okay, let's send the cut command. So what we're going to do is we're going to actually carve holes in the walls of the box. I'll show you what one of these looks like when it's done. So here's the 6th side with stars cut out, and you can see the edges folded nicely along the score line that we make in the first cut. If you find that the first cut actually cuts through the paper, you can reduce the blade depth to 3 since we can't adjust the pressure any further. Just ignore them. Hey honey, be quiet while I'm making the video. Okay, so our 6-sided pattern is in there now. And the last file that I'm going to cut on top of this, let me Hit the load paper button. Looks like this, and these are the actual cards that are going to be cut. Now the sizes that I'm using, it's 2 1/4 inches wide by 2 3/4 inches high, and the reason for this is that the box is 2 1/4 inches square, and that leaves 1/4 inch on each side of the tab to fold over. So again, this is what it looks like, and I'll try and post the details of how this file is created, or how all the files are created, on the comments, so you can reproduce them, and if possible I'll provide them as a download later on. So let's cut it again. Make sure the depth is set to cut. So again, this is the third cut. Alright, and that's all of our cuts. Let's unload it, and let's see what we've got here. The cutting pad's pretty worn, so it's pretty easy to pull these off. So there's the first one, number 4, number 3, number 2, number 1, which is our light bulb insertion point, number 5, number 6, and the little diamonds and hearts and whatever you can keep for later and glue them onto something if you like. Okay, so the score lines, which run across the top and bottom, what we do with those is fold them back. See that? So do that to all 6. I've got lots of practice on this, but it's not too difficult to get the hang of. Alright, and I've prepared 3 other colors. So we have our pink hearts, green stars, and red diamonds. Alright, so let's start with number 1 as our base, just so that I have something to keep track of here. And let's grab number 2 of the green. And you want to build a little tent with your number 1 as the base. So take number 2 of the green, take number 3 of the green. If you want to make a 3-color cube. So this will keep them opposite each other. Now, at the end it'll be easier if the tabs on this little tent are pulled up. So with every other one being the exception, the tabs on these first 2 pieces that you put on, you want to fold those, unfold them rather. And now let's grab, let's see, we've got 1, 2, and 3, so let's grab 4 and 5 in pink and insert it there, and 5 on the other side. The idea being that you use the the little overhang on the tabs to hold everything together. And finally, we take number 6 red and put him on top. Let me try and make this as clear as possible. So 6 on top, then we put our finger in to slide on the final tab. I won't hold it against you if you feel that you need to glue the sides together to make this assembly possible. It is something that takes some practice. But there is our finished Christmas ornament. And here's where you would insert your Christmas light. If you wanted to string these along after you make them, you could make the plus sign bigger and push them in so that you can actually run these through both sides, of course, through your Christmas light string, and instead of inserting a bulb into each one. Anyway, so I promised a little surprise at the end, so let me assemble another one of these quickly, I hope. Alrighty. So to add to the cool factor, because of the overhanging tabs, if you don't glue these, you can use the tabs themselves to attach the cubes to each other, which is kind of neat because it lets you build things with it, like the business card box that I showed you at the beginning of the video. Alright, and no, I didn't fast forward, just got lucky that time. So let's see. Alright, so here we have the overhanging edges, and all you have to do is interlock them carefully. I would say this is sometimes trickier than putting the boxes together. I think I'll open this one up so I can pull the tab out a little. When these are interlocked, they can handle fairly rough handling and still stay put together. So there you have 2 of the boxes interlocked, and there you have it. Some 3D Cricut art. Hope you enjoyed it. Hope you learned something new, and have fun making.